Go. 3, 2. Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here. It's Saturday morning, actual time. Although many people watch this afterwards, so whatever time it is may be the best time for you. And this is the room itself is primarily done on Clubhouse, and so audio is coming from Clubhouse. We have video being streamed to LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and I had such a amazing meeting this morning. I go to a networking group. It's FOP, Friends of Peter Stropel, and there was a word that they used. And what was very fascinating is I normally agree with the really bright group of people, and I agree, and then I have my mind changed a little bit back and forth as I'm listening, and I had a counter view. So I want to put my counter view out there. I want to be able to share. And what happens is there was a word. The word the word that people actually in this case it was a phrase. Why are you unique? What makes you unique? And so many people focused on well, it's not good to be unique. And some people said I'm average or I'm not unique. I'm gonna say, oh my God. So listen, here's what's interesting. We are taught in our school system, and our school system's not the right approach. We're taught literally to be sheep. We're taught to follow the herd. We're taught that now we have these things called tests and scores to help try to weed out the people, but we're not taught to have discernment. We're not taught to really do the right thing for others because we are all unique. Look at your DNA, look at your fingerprints. There's no one like you. So, the interesting part is we're taught to not be unique, but then we're taught to shout from the rooftops how important we are so people buy our stuff. And what I want to say is you are unique. And if you let yourself come out, we just finished a 2-day ultimate credibility boot camp last 2 days. And there were some absolutely amazing people in the room. As a matter of fact, everyone in the room was absolutely amazing. Some people knew it better than others. Some people understood. And when I say that, they knew it because they understood who they were and spoke from their heart. Whereas other people were thinking they know who they were, but they weren't speaking from their heart. They were speaking from what somebody else told them they should be saying. They were speaking this marketing cookie cutter crap that wasn't them. It was their perception of what somebody else said they should say so they could stand out from the crowd and sell you their shit. And yeah, so let me say this. You're unique. You're beautiful. And there's a crowd. We as tribal animals, we as people wanted to be part of a pack, there's a crowd that is interested in you. There's a crowd of people you want to be part of. There's a tribe that you belong in. What's super cool, this is one of the things Lucas Root brought up while we were talking in the last couple of days. Because of the camera and the microphone and universal access to the world, there's now an opportunity to find your tribe and find other tribes. And in life we grow and we learn and we progress. If you're a continual lifelong learner, you're going to continue to change. And every now and then you need to change the crowd, the tribe that you're part of, and find another one because you've grown into something different. And I just think if the beauty of you comes out and you share that in the right way with people, they're going to see you. They're going to love you for who you are. They're going to get attracted to you. So don't hide from yourself. Don't hide from your uniqueness. Don't hide from, if you're a servant leader and you're here to serve and you're here to be this person who delivers value to those around you. If you know who you're serving, and I call this your CPOP, your customer point of possibilities. If you know the playground you play in, you should emphasize it. You should emphasize in such a way that you encourage other people to play in your playground. So you are unique. You have your playground. It's other people could have their playgrounds, and that's okay. And the coolest part is when you get to merge playgrounds with other people and you do things collaboratively. And I think that's a good opportunity for me to say, hi, Dr. Laura. I'm so glad you're playing in this playground called Clubhouse and all these other places I share.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here. And I so hear what you're saying, because the first thing that struck me, I don't know if you remember last week, you're on fire so much I haven't even got on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook yet. Because we were talking about the difference between fitting in and belonging. And your playground, what's your playground? What's your wildness? What's your wilderness? And like, I want you to see you. I want you to be you in your playground, and I want you to be you in my playground. I don't want you to be nobody else than you. I want you to be you. I want you to be authentic and transparent. All those buzzwords, and they're true for me anyway. I want to see you. I want to feel you. I want to watch you being who you are. I don't want a cookie cutter. It's like, what am I doing? What's the matter with you? That's not me. Because why would I want something other for you that I would want for myself? I want people to shut it on me and saying, this is what you need to do or what you would have done. I had a moment last night on the phone with a friend. It was late. And things are not progressing the way that I intended them to, which is usually what happens anyway. And it's to the extent that when I describe it, she's like, you're exactly where you were in business a year ago when you were struggling and you're asking for help. You're right there still. And I said, yeah, you're right. And then it started to move towards, well, if you would have listened to, and she should have done it, and I had to have a conversation. I said, I was crying. I started to, and they can't make me feel, think, or do or say anything. Could set it up, or I could just let it roll off me, and I'm not that person so much. So I had to say, this is how I feel. I said, you're not saying this to me. You might think you're saying it for you. This is how I hear it. And I felt like I was being shamed on. And the ability to articulate that, and I didn't have to hide it. I didn't have to hide that shame. I could be really me, and I knew I can handle it from her, but like she's, I care about her, and I know she cares about me genuinely. I wouldn't do anything purposely. So to fit in, that doesn't work for me anymore. And if someone like last week, if I alter who I am in order to be comfortable around you, then you're the one who's comfortable. I'm not. So grateful that you're saying that. And then the last thing I'll say is I think you mentioned something about collaboration, right? Yeah, well, this past Thursday, in honor of Labor Day in the United States, which is Monday, the first Monday in September, it's a federal holiday, and then people take off work, and then possibly more than often than not, they take off Friday before, so it's a real long weekend. And so I thought, I love connecting people. I love being connected to people. I don't know, I get so excited when I know somebody. And then I'll do a message in the back chat. Like, I don't have to worry about doing a formal email or nothing. That would just blow it. I don't want to do that so just being able to do that, and the last weekend it just came like it's Labor Day. I love to collaborate. How about we have a collabor day, collaboration. So it was called the first annual Clubhouse Collabor Day Summit.
That's so cool.
Say Collabor Day.
That's so cool.
Okay, and there's abundance there. There's gratitude, and there's humility, knowing that things will be together even if I plan it. It's not going to turn out the way I want it to, and it's perfect the way it is. To step out of the way so others can be let in, and they can be them without me trying to make it in. So thank you so much for that share. It really was packed.
You're welcome. Hey, let's make sure those people who are in the room that want to speak, that they get a chance to do that. I just made you a moderator, so I needed that reminder. Thank you. And Co-Labor Day, that's a really interesting. I don't think anyone owns that word yet or really put it out there. I think the first time I ever heard it was when you mentioned it. Pretty cool. And I think collaboration. We really are pack animals. Um, we really do want to play with others. And so why do we go out of our way to so interesting. So I want you to be your individual self, right? So that uniqueness. But I also need you to recognize that when we'll just go back to the old days as tribal hunters, a tribe existed as a tribe, right? As a pack, as together, and everyone had their purposes, and those people who were.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Um, those people who were hunting did an amazing job of hunting, and they supported each other. So we were yes.
Can you hear me
now? Yes, I can hear you. Is that Elizabeth talking? Ah.
Yes, it was.
All right. Hey, Elizabeth, I'll let me finish this thought, and then
Somebody muted me. Can you hear me now?
yes, I'm hearing somebody. So I we'll bring you on stage in a minute. So when you're focused on, oh, you are all muted on Clubhouse. Oh, how about me? Am I muted? Ah, I'm muted.
You are muted on Clubhouse, Mitchell.
How did that happen? That's interesting. Ah, have I been muted since the beginning?
Yes, and someone muted me too.
Oh my goodness.
Ever since, no one's spoken since Dr. Laura spoke.
Oh, fascinating. Huh. Okay. Well, thank you. April said something on LinkedIn because apparently I wasn't reading the messages everywhere. No, but
okay for me to share?
And yes, although, if I was muted, then you didn't hear the last thing I said anyhow. So yes, please share.
Okay, thanks. So I put it in the hallway with my expectation, my prayer for this. I'd like to talk about the UNFCCC Red Plus Sovereign Rainforest Paris Agreement Article 6 compliant carbon removals. Because right now something's happening. Elizabeth, if I may, is this in alignment with the mission that yes, something's happening right now is that corporations are greenwashing and they're saying that they're getting carbon offsets, but they're not really. What they're paying a couple of dollars per credit for is for people to plant trees that may or may not survive, and for things that just don't really measure up. What they should be paying is what the scientists say. I mean, if you really have integrity, you would listen to the hard scientists who tell you that a ton of carbon dioxide removed from the atmosphere has an ultimate value to humanity of at least $10,000. Right now, you're lucky if you can get $180 for 1 ton, and because the corporations just don't want to pay for the price of their emissions. I don't think corporations have integrity because they don't have a conscience. If they had a conscience, then they would have the ability or the motivation, intrinsic motivation, to have integrity. Right now, the corporations have absolutely no credibility. When you really look at what they're doing with their carbon emissions, trying to offset them for pennies on the dollar, and really basically misleading the people just to develop a reputation, a green reputation, the greenwashing that's going on. Really see that I think we need individuals to lead. I don't think corporations can lead with integrity. What do you think?
I appreciate you sharing. So there's a couple. I only have a couple rules in this room, because we're focused on leaders living their values, and rules are that we are servant leaders, and that we have no hate. And so, to answer your question regarding this, first of all, it's not a topic I'm an expert in, right? So I can't say I have expertise in this area. So I can't comment specifically on what you quoted and the things going on, because it's not really an area that I have expertise in. What I do have expertise in is the ability from a credibility perspective to one of the most important words, one of my favorite words you mentioned is integrity. And that is to essentially say what you're going to do and do what you say. And integrity with, and I'm going to go back to another thing you said, which I really adored, scientific proof. Integrity with the opportunity to show that it works is important. But I don't know if I can make any comments on whether or not corporations, because that's one particular aspect. There are so many things we do. I will say something else typically for corporations that I do have extra expertise in. And it is many times corporations do things because what they use as stakeholders, what they adhere to is one of their primary stakeholders is Wall Street. One of their primary stakeholders is the opportunity on a quarterly basis to show a profit. And when you have that as your stakeholder, when you have that as a goal, it encourages you to do things that may not be in the best run of the organization long term. So I'm going to say, hey, Nikki, welcome. Nice to see you here.
Hello, Mitchell. How you doing?
I'm smiling on the inside and the outside. How are you?
I was going to say, you can't just say you're smiling on the inside, because then that makes people think you're not smiling on the outside, and you're holding an incredible room with a great topic, so therefore you should be smiling all the way through, right?
Well, if you were watching my face on the video, I was smiling as well.
Did you hear that laugh? He's got something there. Yes, I see him on his chair. He's laughing. Mickey, how are you? I'm doing great. This is a great topic, Dr. Laura. You said this was going to be good. You said Mitchell was going to be great. I mean, I have heard him a little bit, but there is the concern there, right, of that I'm smiling inside and then you had to add the outside right. There. Yeah. Great topic. So
cool. Well, what interests you about this topic? What got you? What brings this out for you? What's interesting?
Okay, leaders live in their values of credibility. If they're living their values, they should have credibility. But I think you can see many different types of leaders. And I really liked what you said earlier on, where you only wanted servant leaders on here kind of thing. And I think true leaders, that's the only way you should be. You're there to serve others. And I think a true leader helps shine the light and give the people that they're in leadership over either the skills or the opportunity or the room, and it's different in every way, in different ways depending on the individual, to help them become a leader themselves and to help them grow. So yeah, I love this. Servant leaders, that's what we should be doing. Never about us, right?
I love that. So can I tell you, so there are 10 values associated with credibility. And let me share a couple that you talked about. You talked about integrity. Integrity actually is both your external integrity, your internal integrity. And then one of the things that you mentioned was leaders leading and helping others. And what they want to do is you want to make sure that they have the intent and commitment to do the right thing. And this is potentially what Elizabeth was relying on before, is maybe they're doing what artificially looks like the right thing, but on the inside, they're really doing the right thing, which if they're not, that's an issue. And then what I love most is, it's one of my favorite words. One of the values of credibility is really sharing your stage. And I created a word called cred dust. And cred dust is when you share somebody else's ideas, thoughts, and actions. And that's when, as a leader, you don't take credit for what your people do. You actually share what they do. So, Nikki, what do you do? What do you focus?
What do I do? What do I focus? My focus is that. My focus is what you just mentioned there, is
to actually, I mean, on Clubhouse, you can be very intentional with it. You can have a topic of a room for the purpose of people coming in, never about you, to show who they are. Then you can pull the things out that you've seen, that you've heard, and let them see it. Let people shine, right? Let people see how incredible they are and help them be all they can be. So that is my focus.
Nice. And how does that manifest itself during the week?
You do it with every person you're around. There's different ways that you can do it. Some people are only around us for a moment, right? You can go to a shop and you can actually lift your energy up and say hello in such a way that they look up, and then you can compliment someone on something, and a genuine compliment, and you can allow people to shine that way. And then just looking for opportunities to do that. And I think sometimes we can all feel rubbish about ourselves, and I've often heard people say, you know, you have to work on yourself before you can lift someone else. I mean, no. I understand the idea behind it, but I have a lot of work to do on myself. Everyone who says that must be way more perfect than me. I have a lot of work to do on myself. If I waited till I was perfect, I'm not going to be helping anyone. So therefore, find small ways, recognize who we are, and find small ways where we can, as you said, shine that light on other people. Like, let them see something, let them feel good. Spend your life doing that.
Yeah, I like that. And Dr. Laura, let me let you come on next. The coolest thing in the world is when you were in a group of people and somebody says what you were thinking, or somebody shows up and demonstrates what you wanted to demonstrate, is to support them. You know, pat them on the back, bring it out. And it was so funny when you were saying at first, I was agreeing with you that you that you have to work on yourself before you work on others. But then I realized I didn't really listen to the words as well as I should have, because I do believe that you need to be credible internally before you could be credible externally. And so let me apply that to that. Don't give a compliment just to give a compliment. You do want to give the compliment. You want to showcase somebody else if you really believe it, but don't do it just because you're following a script. And yeah, you don't have to wait till you have something, you know, when you recognize something brilliant in somebody else, you don't need to, you don't have, doesn't have to be you as well. You could like a meal and the chef without ever being able to have to learn how to cook. Right. Laura, what's going on? Oh, I'm sorry. Nikki unmuted. So go ahead, Nikki.
Yeah, I would just say though, with that, yes, you have to be genuine with your compliments. Don't just give a compliment for the sake of compliment. I don't know about that one. Here's the thing. If you truly look at someone and you truly listen to someone, are you saying that there is nothing good about that person that you couldn't compliment? We can be surrounded by negativity. We really can. People can be very alone, especially with COVID and everything. They've been isolated. To be able to even look at someone and compliment, it has to be genuine. And it might even be like, in the situation that I used, in a shop, get them food, cashier in front of you. That's incredible nail varnish you're wearing. Love that colour. It looks really great on you. Do you know how someone like who can be in a mode where they're just going through the routine things, they can suddenly look up at you? On Clubhouse, someone sharing their thoughts. You can find things to pull out, genuine things to compliment people on. If your heart as a servant leader becomes focused on doing that, it becomes automatic. So it is complimenting in some ways for complimenting's sake. Because, yeah, I do feel everyone should be complimented, because they might not have had that for a long while. And you watch their face lights up when they can see it's genuine.
I'm with you. I agree. Muhammad's giving the heart. I agree. And yeah, here's the cool part. Sometimes a compliment is nothing more than when you're meeting somebody new, just saying hello, looking them in the eyes, truly listening to them. Maybe the compliment in and of itself is giving somebody the attention they deserve. Particularly if it's somebody who you walk into a store and they have a name tag and you see them and maybe they don't get complimented enough or given respect enough, and just saying hi and then whatever their name is, and a lot of times for me when it's like I don't know if I could pronounce that name. Can you pronounce it for me? And just giving somebody that time of day. Muhammad's in the room. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, Mitchell. Hi, you good morning, good afternoon, good evening, afterwards. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I might address, maybe, I don't know, where did you land, guys? Where did you end up?
Wait a minute. I can do this, Mitch. You might think this is really bad, but I can do this. I feel this man needs an introduction.
Oh, no, go for it, please.
Okay. I'm not having, no, I'm doing this. So, this guy is the true servant leader. This guy, when he comes onto rooms, he just has such a way of being able to pour into people. And he truly does do what I just mentioned there. That's him. That's what he does. So this guy has an incredible heart and shares with those around him and does everything he can to lift and inspire. Done speaking.
Always do that. How can I put off on it? I'm gonna go silent. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Nikki.
Don't you even go silent, Mohammed. No, don't even. You've got the mic. You go do your thing. You don't need to. You can just pretend I haven't said anything. I was just suitably introducing you. You go.
Okay. I guess you can't truly know how genuine you are, how truly good or otherwise you are, unless you give through times where you're not supposed to do so, because you are under so much pressure, your calamities, disasters, and despair. That is the true, genuine, authentic self would shine. And we need to get tested in life, get through tough times, so we can know our substance, our true selves. And the more you do so, while you have a purpose of bettering yourself, and I keep saying this as a Muslim, I believe in God, and I believe that serving others is the way to go to worship God. If you continuously have this purpose, and if you continue to believe that there is life after death, there is heaven and hell, and if you're a very good person, you ascend in hell, and evildoers will face the day of judgment. And I don't say this in a revenge or vengeance way of thinking, but rather on a mercy, because God is love. But that's up to God. For me, I try my best to abide by God's orders, whether it's the commandments of Moses, Muhammad, and Jesus, and to be the best person I could possibly be. I'm a work in progress. I don't want to preach but I know Amir is a brother. Amir is in the audience, and he knows of me. He's from Kuwait, a great soul. Laura knows me. Nikki knows me. I guess I'm trying my best here. But the thing is, if you should be around people such as Nikki, Amir, and Laura, and now Mitch, so that you can better yourself, so you can be reminded that there is goodness in this world, and there are good people, and you just have to connect with them. And if you do so, and you have this great purpose, believe me, if you change what's in yourself, the whole world will conspire. God will make everything go your way, just because you are a good person. I'm trying my best, guys, and God knows that I haven't been the best, but I'm trying my best, and that's how you become. That's you be credible, and that's you. Then you become a leader by leading yourself to a betterment. Thanks, guys. Bless you.
Mohammed, I appreciate you saying what you're saying, and just for a second, let's take a look at a little bit of Buddhist philosophy. On the Buddhist side, you are a new person every time you take a new breath. And I don't know who you were in the past that may not have been that good person, but there are two things that allow me to see you today, even though technically I'm only seeing you and by listening to your voice on Clubhouse. The first thing is that you have somebody else who loves you, who spread your cred dust, and it's Nikki who felt the need to introduce you in a really glowing way, right? That's really cool. And the second is how you show up at the moment, is how you show up in the room and present yourself. And so I don't know who you were that may not have been that person that you want to be now. And the thing is, that's what we all have to do, is we need to be that person that we're proud of ourselves. That's what I was trying to get at before. We have to be proud of it ourselves. And if we're proud of it ourselves, we could look at everybody and go, oh my God, that was beautiful. That was interesting. That was amazing. I wanted to let everyone know Lucas Root's in the room. Lucas, we just had an amazing 2 days with the Ultimate Credibility Bootcamp. And one of the things that happened, one of the things I wanted to say is, and we're going to go back to what I said towards at the beginning. So this room is leaders living their values. That happens to be the playground I play in. And what was really interesting is allowing us to show up as leaders. We are, by the way, you're all leaders because you're leading your own life. And the people who follow you, the tribe that gets excited about playing with you, that wants to grow with you, are those people who can relate to you because you're showing them who you are, not a cookie cutter impression of what somebody else says you should be, but showing yourself as yourself. And Lucas Root, you're one of those people.
I am. Good morning. Thanks for having 2 amazing days with me, Mitchell. And
yeah, it was pretty cool.
And for hosting this week after week so that we can get more time chatting together.
I agree. So I think one of the things that Nikki brought up was we should go out of our way to compliment people. And I said, yes, as long as we truly mean it. Like, because you could always find good things in other people, but my statement was don't just compliment where it doesn't sound right. You want to compliment, and by the way, Nikki, this is a modus operandi for me, is always noticing the most amazing thing in other humans and bringing out their talent so they can share it. But I'm not a big fan of when I see people compliment. Here's a great example. You go into a shoe store to try on shoes, and I, occasionally my wife will bring me into a shoe store to try on shoes, and the person who's helping shoes on, every pair of shoes she puts on, whether or not they look ugly or they look good, whether or not they're snug or not snug, if the person says, "Oh, those are great, you should buy those. Oh, those are great," that's not a compliment that I find interesting. Lucas, what do you think about complimenting others?
I do like to tell people the ways in which they've positively impacted me. And sometimes that comes across as a compliment. And I do intend for them to feel a pickup. But it's not quite the same thing as a compliment, I guess, is it?
That's interesting. What is the definition of a compliment versus something that makes somebody feel like a pickup? What's a pickup? Tell me what that means to you.
Well, again, the focus for me is the ways in which they've positively impacted me. So I want them to feel good about it. But it's not so much about them feeling good. It's more about me sharing my experience. Does that make sense?
I'm gonna say yes, but I do occasionally, like if I walk in a store and somebody has coiffed a particularly cool way, or I for some odd reason they're wearing a bow tie, or they just happen to look really good. Like the first words when I saw Dr. Laura this morning is, "You just look really good today." There was no, I had no, it maybe that did affect me. That's a good question.
I think you were sharing ways in which she had positively impacted you.
That's true, isn't it? Huh.
Can I say something?
Please.
I just think there's more that we can do. I mean, maybe you guys have got incredible gifts and talents, and like, I don't know you at all. I really like Mitchell, just like hearing how he speaks and the things that he said. You can tell who someone is. But here's the thing. I look at it and think, I don't know what people are going through, and when people come in my path, yeah, they don't always necessarily positively impact me, but it doesn't mean to say that I can't find a way of doing that to them. I don't need to wait till they've done that to me. So I've been on Clubhouse a bit, and I've heard stories where, you know, people have told stories about how someone was going to take their life because no one saw them, right? And it went over a long time period, and then they chose a day they were going to do it. They got all the preparations ready. They walked out the door for one last walk. As far as they're concerned, no one's going to notice. They might as well be done with this life. They went out, and someone walked past them and said hi. Like you said, Mitchell, they're like in a more serious manner. Like someone said hi to them on that, and they were noticed, and they decided not to take their life. So I look at things like that and other experiences and think, I'm not going to wait till someone positively affects my life. I'm going to try and affect someone's life positively by seeing them, even if it is a hello, as Mitchell said, even if it's I can notice someone, I can look at someone, if someone is serving me in a shop, or even if someone is standing next to me in a shop, I can strike up a conversation, and I'm telling you, we can find a way to see something in that person genuinely and compliment them on it. And that might change everything. You don't know what they've gone through. You don't. And they're in your path. Do something. What does it cost you? I mean, at the very least, someone's going to look at me and think, you're weird, or shut up. And I can give you a situation, and I know I am strange. I was in a shop, and I think in the States you call them shopping carts. I was waiting to queue to pay. I had mine. They had theirs on the other side. And they said, excuse me, can you move we call them trolleys in the UK, out the way? And I said, sorry, I have a skill of being in the way. And they turned around and said, don't worry, I have a skill of being invisible. So I looked at that woman. It was an old lady. Like, whether she'd had a bad day that day, she was with her husband, whether he never noticed her, whatever, I looked at her and I think I complimented her on her earrings because it had to be quick. That's the only thing I could say. I complimented her on her earrings. And when she said that, I went over to her pre-COVID. I put my arm around her and I said, I don't think you're invisible. Right? And I know that's like a bit much for most.
No, that's beautiful.
Heck, you know, like someone can be on their knees around you and you don't know, what did that cost me? I could have got slapped one for like giving her a hug, to be fair. But, you know, I don't want to wait till someone positively impacts me, because I can positively impact them. And the worst they're going to think of is you're weird. But I'm never going to see that person again.
That's beautiful. Can I suggest that we're saying the same thing?
Lucas, I was going to actually say, hey, Lucas, can you actually, I think there's a common language thing here. And
English American translation thing, lost in translation. That was So.
Oh, hey, Nikki, are you in Ashford, England, by the way?
Sorry?
Are you in Ashford?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to connect to you on LinkedIn. So I just want to make.
What the heck? Wait, how do you know that? I've not put that out there. You're really good.
All right, Lucas, what was the common language thing? Because I knew as you were listening, you're thinking, first of all, you're probably really appreciating Nikki and how she approaches the world, because I could feel that in your energy. And then you're thinking, Nikki, I think I need to clarify something. All right, go ahead, Lucas. You got the floor.
It's beautiful, Nikki. There are some differences in what we were saying, and I love what you're adding to it. Here's what I'm hearing. You go out of your way to create an opportunity inside which you get positively impacted, and then you share that impact. The difference between what I said and what you said, Nikki, I think, is that you go out of your way to create that opportunity. I love it. I think that you're right. People should go out of their way to create an opportunity for positive impact in their own life and in the lives of the people that they're interacting with, and then share that.
Let me add something else, guys. Well, I do the same thing, but I have other motives. You see, I'm giving charity to myself and everyone else. I believe every act of kindness is charity. So this positive energy, and I believe that each one of us can prove an aura of energy that surrounds you. If you are peaceful, you have serenity, inner peace, and if you are upset and if you're mad, there is another aura energy around you that is, and my brother showed me that he's a scientist, where it is more of orange-like. So there is a negative energy and positive energy. What happens is giving, even the smallest giving, such as a smile or a word, a positive reinforcement or affirmation, would impact you foremost before anyone else. And it's a natural high. And if you continuously do that, what happens is that's exactly what you said, Lucas. You eventually you're purifying your soul, and you feel positive. And if you live in this state of mind, I believe that great things happen to you, and you would get impacted. And it's like a continuous type of act and react type of thing, and you would see. And the second thing, I try my best not to see people. I try my best to see good and try to neglect or mitigate, but not in a naive way, but rather find the best out of people. And people tend to change themselves when you look at them in a positive way. They act upon your expectations. They would love to rise up to the level that you have put them there, and it's a reward for everyone. So the environment that you live in, with this positive attitude, with this great energy, would impact everyone. As a leader, it's a must. You should be the chief heart officer, chief vision officer. You should always impact everyone around you, and eventually you are as good as people you surround yourself. You get impacted, and you will be the beneficiary, the first beneficiary of such action.
The chief heart officer. I don't think I've heard anyone say that before. I really like that, Mohammed.
Jack Welch said that.
I'm sorry, who'd you say said it?
Yeah, Jack Welch.
Oh, Jack Welch. That's kind of cool. Elizabeth, you unmuted yourself for a second.
My dad used to tell me when I was a kid, people tend to live up to your expectations.
Yeah, this is really fascinating. I'm just going to do a quick reset for the room. So this is Leaders Living Their Values. We are on Clubhouse. For those who are watching on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, I'm just going to show you. This is the iPad. So that's the iPad that I'm using, where this is where sound is coming from. So audio is coming from here. And it looks like Dr. Laura jumped off of or accidentally got knocked out of Clubhouse. So I'm seeing a picture of her room. So, hey, at least it's not just Mitchell by itself, but if you're streaming, you're seeing Dr. Laura's chair and her, it looks like a college certificate. And we're joined in the room by Elizabeth, Nikki, Mohammed, Lucas, and Adrian as speakers. Adrian, aren't you on the beach?
They scrubbed it. They scrubbed Artemis. So another try, another day. Hi, everyone. I look forward to hearing your reset, Mitchell.
Well, actually, you're always good at resetting. Do you want to give it a shot for us?
I would, but I don't know what you're talking about. But I do love this room. And can I tag something above? Is there anything that you want to have? A link that you would like to share?
Oh, that's a great question. It's so funny. Lucas and I just finished. I think Lucas, what we should do. By the way, let me answer your question directly. I often jump off to 3 or 4 different ideas when I hear one, and I don't know if there's anything to tag at the moment. I guess you could Ultimate Credibility.
CredibilityNation.com.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. I was going to go to Ultimate Credibility Bootcamp, but yeah, sure. Yeah, actually, CredibilityNation.com. Thank you, Lucas. We just spent 2 days with, I think it was 20 people signed up to the event, but on average, we had between 12 and 16-ish. It was 2 days, and it was amazing to see transformation. And I'm going to bring us back to where we were at the beginning of the conversation. Lucas, you weren't in the room. One of the things that in the morning meeting, the conversation people had, or the word of the day, is what makes you unique. And I was surprised that so many people in the room said, well, I'm not unique, I'm average. And by the way, this was not a room of average people. And it made me recognize that we as humans, as society, we're being taught not to show up as our unique selves. And I want to focus a little bit on being the credible human you need to be, being the human of love, the human of heart that you need, the chief heart officer. Mohammed, thanks for throwing out Jack Welch, but you're now emanating this. The person who, Nikki, the opportunity when you walk into the room and what you recognized, you still were affected. Maybe you weren't positively affected in the example you gave. You were affected by somebody because they were really sharing their energy with you. It just turned out they were showing you a void, and you noticed it and you filled it up. And that's what leadership is. Leadership is providing value to those people who need it when they need it. And yes, it sometimes comes with compliments. And yes, it sometimes comes with just observations. And then, yes, it sometimes comes with just simply the pat on the back saying, hey, I like what you're doing and where you're going. You should keep going. And by the way, come and talk to me if you have a question. Come and talk to me if you need help. What I'm going to say is we all have this unique superpower. And typically what happens, that superpower comes from something we overcame when we were young. And I want to make sure that I want to see it. I want to make sure that other people should see it. Dr. Laura, you're back in the room. Is the technology working?
I don't even know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's like I can't get a break.
That's all right.
I'm cutting out of the camera. I need to be heard.
I'm
cutting out of the video because I'm not getting it, or it's getting me.
You do need to get heard, and we had a couple weeks where it actually worked. And I'm going to say, if somebody's interested in joining me on camera, let me know. We'll just put the link in place so you can join me, because I'm also doing StreamYard. We're streaming, and so it's interesting. Lucas, would you mind sharing? We're like the top observation or two observations that fit into leaders living their values in the conversation we had that came out of 2 days of spending time with just an amazing group of people.
It truly was an amazing group of people, an amazing experience. The first is you can create a community. I mean, a true community of people that are working together and supporting each other. They're focused on a purpose that is meaningful to them. They've built a language that supports the work that they're doing, a unique language that's purpose-built around that work that they're doing, around pursuing that purpose and working together. You can create a true community in a very short period of time, and when you do, the way that people can rise together to meet the challenges of life changes dramatically. Nikki, this is kind of a piece of what you were talking about, that by working together, we can be a version of extraordinary that we were not when we were alone. And maybe that's because in that instant when we were alone, we felt invisible and lonely. And that's a piece of it, and an important piece, right? And helping people not feel alone and lonely matters. But it also matters that we were doing it together as a group, as a community. I'm going to pause there. There's more to add, but I saw some mics flashing, and I want to let Nikki say a thing.
No, I was just flashing the mic to say, that's incredible. I agree with you, as in Clubhouse version of clapping.
Or just, we're both new to Clubhouse-ish and still trying to figure this out. Thank you.
I'd like to say something though. So we were talking about a couple of things. One is in the chat over there, compliment currency. And China does have a social currency where they basically kick you out of society if you become an outlaw. And we have carbon currency as well. So sort of if you help protect the environment instead of destroying it, you get carbon credit. So there is that kind of thing going on. And when I read the Bible, I found that Jesus was this corporation, this body, the first corporation to stand out. And I thought, well, that's something people are coming together so that they can be of one mind and be functional members of the body of Christ. And I thought, that's kind of a living corporation. Or can a corporation actually live? And we were talking about living leaders who are living. Can a corporation live, or is a corporation dead? I think a corporation is dead. I think a living being would be somebody who's made of flesh and blood. What do you think?
I believe, and this is where Lucas and I are moving, I believe we as humanity have the opportunity to reconstruct what we would call a corporation. So let's call it a living, breathing tribe. And we can create, I believe there's an opportunity for us to reinvent this thing called a corporation post-pandemic into something that actually really does live, because this, for me, and as I talked to Lucas, the sum of the parts should be greater than the whole. And we need to allow the humanity of each and every person to come out and also then to be able to live within this tribe, in this case, the tribe called the company, or the tribe called the corporation. And today that is not, I agree with you that it is not the way it exists for most corporations, and it's something that does need to be addressed.
If I may, I've spoken about with some professors from Europe and the States, and the accounting system as we know it is set up periodically, quarterly and annually, so it can address tax requirements and so forth. However, there is some talk that eventually, I don't know for how many years, but it's coming up, where you would have another row or a couple of rows in the P&L and probably the balance sheet as well. Another important factor would be added, that the number of people's lives have been impacted. There are other KPIs, and the assets, the human resource assets, because there are lots of companies that
I want that.
make money.
I want that one. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, because I mean, look at Google, look at Twitter. They watch just recently that made some money, and many companies are not making money. But however, even I think Tesla is losing money. So, but the fact is that we don't, and as Simon Sinek said, it's not right to judge how good is a company or not just by looking at the financial statements. And there's a great book by Mark Epstein talking about how CSR, I think called sustainability. I forgot the name of the book. Read a few years back, where it shows that the CSR has tremendous value as a return on investment on corporation, but unfortunately, the accounting system, we don't have the complexity to measure the return. But the word of mouth and the goodness and positivity pays back in terms of income and so forth. So accounting, as we know, is changing. And the true impact, the legacy, is to change people's lives. So we will see this eventually to judge if a company is being successful or not.
I'm shaking my head. Yes, that's a really it really requires. It's so interesting. It's not as easy as to say, hey, let's add one more line to how we measure companies. I mean, I love that. But maybe it is the baby steps that need to happen. It's I'm going to say that this is a topic I'm going to spend, Mohammed, what you just said is a topic I'm going to spend more time thinking about and being better prepared to answer. And I think it's one in which, Luke, it's one of those things we need to focus on, because it's part of when we're working with companies. One of the things that we've spent a lot of time thinking about, and we've got a new podcast coming out talking about unraveling stakeholder advocacy. And what's important, and we're going after the types of people we're interviewing are companies between 10 and 100 million. And so it's those companies that are at that stage and growing fast, because sometimes it's hard to redirect an existingly large company. But companies that are growing between, who are 10 to 100 million, growing between 50 to 1,000%, are companies that also need to, their culture's being ripped. And they also need to be at that stage. They need to be able to have a culture that allows them to continue to be a bigger tribe, and to also do the right thing. And in terms of what you're talking about, Mohammed, is how do we measure doing the right thing in such a way that it has impact to all of the stakeholders that we're addressing? And so I'm just going to say this is a conversation we're going to and a topic we're going to spend a lot of time on. And I want to personally just say, Mohammed, thank you for actually saying that in this way, in a way that I heard it. So thank you.
Okay, I found the book. Sorry.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah. Why don't you share it? What's the book?
Mark Epstein, Making Sustainability Work: Best Practices in Managing and Measuring Corporate Social, Environmental, and Economic Impacts. I'm going to put it in the chat.
All right, that sounds great. Thank you. I wanted to change the topic slightly. I wanted to bring it all together, and then we'll have a little bit more talk, and then we'll call it a day. One of the things that came out of for us for this particular 2 days that we just went through was that, and we had a lot of compliments on this. We had a lot of breakout rooms, so it was 2 days, 6 hours each. We had a number of workshops, and what Lucas and I did was to make sure that we pulled out the talent in the room. that it wasn't just, a command and control structure, the way companies are structured today. And it was one in which we did share, we did have a framework, and then we pulled out the genius of those people who are in the room. One of the guys in the room is somebody who sings opera. And as soon as he shared something, we actually encouraged him when the time was right. When somebody had their, Dr. Laura, you and I talked about this thing called a CPOP, the playground you play in, your customer pointed possibilities. We would ask Raja to actually do a quick operatic on that person's playground. We had,
It was so fun.
Oh my God. We had people in the room.
Stingy, what happened?
Say it again.
Don't be stingy. What happened?
Oh, it actually turns out it's going to be a gift we're sharing because we recorded it for everyone. And we're now going to take these little clips, and afterwards it's Lucas affectionately calls this candy after dinner. So what we're going to be doing is sending the people a little bit of candy saying, by the way, this is great. And this is how Raja actually, sung the playground you play in. And it was really cool. But we also, like, for instance, I haven't spent any time on TikTok yet. There was somebody in the room who 90% of her business came from TikTok. We encouraged her to spend 10 minutes talking to us about it. Right. And so I'm going to say is there's always an opportunity to bring out somebody's genius. And by the way, here's the cool part. Lucas, interesting observation. That particular person came into the 2 days with a particular attitude, and it was a transformed attitude at the end of 2 days. And I'm not going to say it's just the fact that we let her come to stage. We shared her cred desk on that TikTok thing. There were many other things involved, but it really was, it must have been part of it because she really was she was much more of her individual ownership and understanding her uniqueness and sharing it with all of us. That was pretty cool. Hey, looks like we have a Gina in the room. Now, I don't know Gina. Hi, Gina.
Hello. She's incredible too. Just going to put that out there. This woman is amazing, and what she's been through and the strength she has is awesome.
Awesome. Dr. Laura's winner.
So sweet.
Well, Gina, why don't you at least say hello with the general concept? And, I like to go an hour and we're going a little bit over. So we'll sort of, the way I like doing wrap-ups, by the way, is everyone who's on the stage gets a chance to summarize something or say something new. So we'll definitely let us do that. But Gina, why don't you at least say hello? What is leaders living their values? What does that mean to you?
So my name is Gina Gonzalez, and when it comes down to leaders, I'm actually in leadership at the company that I work for, like what we consider it leadership, but I supervise a team of 20. And as far as I'm concerned, leadership is not a position, it's an attitude. And I think leadership is very important. Even like with the team that I've been charged to lead, I learn just as much from them as they do from me. If not, I might learn more from them because there's more of them than there are me. And I just think it's really important to show up credibly in leadership, and that vulnerability and that honesty and the genuineness, because at the end of the day, people know if you're not genuine. And if you're just after the status of what people would consider leadership, the status of it, that it's all meaningless and it's really unfulfilled time. And it's, if that makes sense, I just think it's very important to then be, genuine with the people that I'm charged to lead, but also with the people that are around me too. So does that make sense?
Oh, that was freaking awesome. It on the video, at least Dr. Laura acknowledged, I'm actually bowing to you. So thank you. I loved it. Here, we'll put that little GIF on here. So yeah, that was awesome.
Thanks.
Are you welcome? Yeah, so I'm going to say it feels like, Dr. Laura, did you want to go a little bit longer? I'm okay, sort of. You're a big fan of going teensy bit longer. All right, I'm gonna bow to you then. What's next?
If you're going to do that, can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Like reset the room. Like you need to get someone to reset the room so they throw this back out in the hallway so more people can see it and get people to follow one another and stuff.
I can do it.
Please.
Hey everybody, we are in Credibility Nation. Thanks so much for being here. You see that the name of the club there, not right above my head or Mitchell's head, above higher. Select on that. Join the club. If you're in here and you're not in the club, what's to do with that? That's just like stingy hoarding. I mean, share, join the club, share, and you know what? Invite people to join the club because, Michelle, I don't know if you noticed, but your membership may have increased because what am I going to do right now? I'm going to select on Credibility Nation. What? I'm already a member. It says invite members. I invited members. I press on it. I am right now as we speak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I can count 12, 13, 14. I just invited 20 people to join the club. If everybody right here become a member, you just gotta press join. And when it says member, it says next to it, invite members. I'm literally doing this right now. I'm already up to 50 people. If each one of us were to do that, what we got 7 people in here? I'm doing the big screen. I'm literally, even as I'm talking, I'm still inviting people. What an organic opportunity. What an opportunity to organically, and this is about credibility. Do I show up? Am I credible? Do I have integrity? Am I authentic? And am I transparent saying, I'm doing this right now? So, Michelle, I'm going to track the room. I swear, you're going to see it. Yeah, I just invited 75 people.
Oh, my goodness.
Easy peasy, so easy. So, coming back to the main screen now. Take your finger at the top. Pull it down. You might see our faces kind of maneuver around a little bit. That's just an pull to refresh, and that gets the algorithm kicking until people come up higher in the hallway so they know we're there. And I see we have only 17. It's okay. We have 17 room chats. That's okay because we're all getting it out to each other. We don't put it in the chat because everyone's on stage. Share that link. See the little form. We got 4 shares. Thank you so much. I'm gonna ping some people in here. See, this is the beautiful thing when you share the club. When someone's a member of the club, every single time a room opens up under that club, they get notification. If you ping someone now in the room, they might never join, but they're going to come because of you, affiliated with the club. So why not just join on the club anyway? So yeah, that's about it. I don't think there's any trolls here. You never know though. Don't have any nasties in your bio because you won't get up. And if you troll, I'll kick your butt up. That's all.
Hey, remind me how to invite people more to Credibility Nation since I don't know if I've ever actually done that as much as I should.
Sure. If you see at the top of your screen, Credibility at the very top, select that. It should say that you're a member, kind of like you created it. And if I'm on an Android right now, but I see member. Right now we have 181 members. 181 members in this club.
Okay.
Under that, it says you're a member. To the right of that, it'll say invite members.
It says add members. Same thing.
Members. Yeah. Are you on an iPhone?
Oh, that's too easy. I have done this before.
See how easy that is? You just do it every time you come into a room. If it's your room, or even better, how about you do it for someone else's club? What?
That would be cool.
I did say that.
Yeah.
I did say that. Just saying.
Mitchell, I have to say this. Listen, dear beautiful soul sister, I love you to Laura, but you remind me of Martin Scorsese and Nick reminds me of Hitchcock or Clint Eastwood. You guys rock. I mean, this is.
Wait, what? I'm Martin Scorsese.
You speak so fast, and you're such full of energy, and you're so smart, and you add so much value. And then this Nicky has this calming voice, and just it makes me so in a different dimension with serenity and inner peace. Okay, you guys rock. By the way, Bella is in the audience. Bella is a beautiful social person. Bella's down there. Bella, if you could join us, that would be great.
And there's Byron, and there's Marky.
Yes, of course.
He's the goat. Tasmanian devil.
Say that again.
Nikki's the goat to my Tasmanian devil, and I think she'll understand what I mean. I'm going to invite those other folks up. Thanks.
You both rock.
All right, I'm smiling.
The word credibility is like credit. So your credibility credit is like, it's saying more than you need to. Really, your credibility is your credit. I deal with people who say they're going to do something and then do something completely different. I'm not sure whether you've got to correct them, and if they just keep doing it, well, I think maybe I should move on. But that is credit. So your carbon credibility is your carbon credit. Your social credibility is your social credit. Am I right? Or is that too simplistic?
I like simple. Simple is not always easy, but yes, I for those who haven't seen, this is what Adrian, you asked what you could put in chat. You could put the link to my TEDx. Because I did a TEDx. It was the 28th most popular in 2021. It's called "We Are Losing Our Humanity," and I'm tired of watching it happen. Oh, actually, I guess I did 2 TEDx's, but the one that was in 2021 is focused on credibility, and there are 10 values of credibility. And what's really fascinating is integrity is the only value that's listed twice, and it's there for a reason. And the reason is there is under the credibility is the quality in which you're trusted, known, and liked. Or if you really want to do it, trusted, known, and loved. And under trust is the integrity that you share externally. And under being known, it's the integrity that you have internally. It's the integrity you have to yourself. And so what's fascinating to me is we lie to ourselves. We actually say we have integrity. We actually say that we're accountable. And when I did a survey, 61% of people said they're accountable to themselves. And as soon as I got the results of that survey versus having an accountability coach or a family member, or they don't care about accountability. But to me, accountability is integrity, right? If you say you're going to do something, you need to do what you say. If I'm going to say, if you run across people who say they're going to do something and never do it, then those are people you don't really want in your life. And so I did the next survey. And the next survey was really fascinating. It was, of the people who are partners in your life, how many people say they're going to do something and do what they say? And only the number came up 10%. Only 10% of people have partners in their lives that actually say what they do and do what they say. Pretty big disconnect. So how can that happen? We lie to ourselves. We let our ego say, hey, let me promise something because maybe it's what people want to hear. That's not the right way to live. I think the way to live is to live credibly, and you're living credibly when you live to your word, you live to your bond, and your bond is of value, and you're giving you're this servant leader that adds value to other people. Thank you.
That is so brilliant. Thank you. Yes, I don't know when you said that.
Yeah, that's why you're as a CEO, the way you treat the janitor, the way you treat the least one that you would benefit from, and you have no interest. There's no conflict of interest. There's no reason. And the way you treat that janitor is a testament of how good of a leader you are. And that's and another one. Muhammad Ali, as I mentioned this before, was never considered the greatest until he was knocked down by Joe Frazier. You see, when you stand up and you continuously do the work needed with discipline and commitment, being courageous, and that is another way of addressing leadership with credibility during tough times. So in good times, by the way, I sent you in a direct message, Catherine Hepburn, a story. How did she learn the meaning of giving? And that's probably another room. But check out the story, because it speaks volume about how people should rise up when others are in need, and there's no reason for you, for anyone to rise up and to give, but to unconditionally love the other party which is in need.
Unconditionally, agape, like Jesus said, the leader is the servant. The best leader is the best servant.
That's so funny. So, hey, did we do a good job of resetting the room? Since Laura,
Dr. Laura did an amazing job of resetting the room. An incredible, she's fire, right? I mean, look at the energy as well as doing all the things she meant to do when she was resetting the room.
all right, so that's that. So, because I have very little experience, so you're telling me that this is a best practice. This is what we should be doing all the time.
For sure. So, like, well, everything is numbers, right? If you're bringing something of value to a room, right, then you want as many people to hear that as possible. Now, like, if it's just the one who needs to hear it hears it, that's great, but there might be a few. And if they can't see your room in the hallway, then they're not going to come on. So you need to get people to invite people, and you need to, like, get the room reset so it's thrown back out in the hallway so people can see it every way. Then when you do more rooms, if people join your club, they will be notified that you're opening a room. So by Laura doing that, people are going to be notified every time you bring a room. So if you keep doing topics like that, people are going to come onto your rooms. So it's so important.
Thank you.
Nikki, yes, I think what you're saying is be a healthy influence. Influence others. What's the difference between influencing them and persuading them? I guess is persuasion a type of influence?
Intention.
No. Persuasion is it's something that you try to convey a message and try to convince them of something that you believe in and persuade them towards that message. That is not coming. You should be humble enough to be equal with the other person rather than persuade them to do something. That's not the same.
Thank you.
I think when I think about influence, and I think about it being more internal versus the persuasion is more or less persuading somebody for an action, where influence is where somebody will choose to follow.
Man, I'm loving this.
I think this misconception. I think leadership does not mean that I lead and others follow. The true leadership is, one mentor told me a long time ago, a leader is the paved pathway in which your colleagues, your family, siblings, in an organization, this is your family, steps on this road path, so that each one would go into their own goals and ambitions in life. But eventually, all these road paths or paved road paths would meet at the end in the vision. You're not a tree that people go. You're not an umbrella. You're not the sky. You're not someone who takes the hand of someone. You are someone who people step on. It's not a humility thing. It's not something that would degrade me, but rather something that humbles me in a way that I understand that I give myself to others in a way that would everybody wins, and eventually the vision that I set in place, which I'm responsible for, everybody will reach it. But I make sure that I set the right infrastructure and environment that everyone would flourish in such an environment.
I think I need to apologize here. I think when I introduced Mohammed, I did it incorrectly. I don't think I kind of gave everyone an understanding of how great he is. I mean, can you hear the things that he comes out with? I'm in awe at times.
You're so kind.
Can I ask a question? Would that be all right, Mitchell?
Sure, please.
Mitchell and Lucas, this is aimed at both of you. So, Lucas, you look like you're kind of standing up with your hand behind your head. I hope you're not laying down and sleeping somewhere, because otherwise you're going to get caught out here. So, the both of you work together, and you've had some kind of an event for a couple of days. What is it both of you do? What is your mission, your purpose? I get a feel of who you both are, but what is it that you're striving to do?
Lucas, do you wanna start and share your wisdom?
Thank you. And I don't think of that as calling out. Although my icon is, you're absolutely right. My icon is laying down and sleeping.
It is laying down. I wasn't sure whether you were standing up, or whether because you could have just had your hand behind your head, or whether you was actually laying down and sleeping.
No, I'm joking. In that particular picture, I'm holding onto a branch above my head. I'm standing.
Oh, hey, Lucas, I just want to say I want to thank those that are online giving us thoughts. So Lori Payne, thanks for joining us. Thank you, everyone else who is sharing comments on other social platforms. And yeah, so Lucas, who are you? What do you do? April, Trisha, Jordan, thank you. All right, go ahead.
I love it. I've gone through a fairly significant transformation over the past 3 to 4 years in working with Mitchell and in growing into this new life that I've been building and the work that we do together. My previous incarnation, and it still is what supports the growth that I have today. My previous incarnation is as a consultant for brands who don't execute. And it's been an amazing life. What I'm moving into, Nikki, is a deep study of community. You've heard me talk about it a few times, and it's not really going to go away. When you talk about me, you're going to hear a lot about community. And the clients that I'm attracted to now are community owners wanting profit.
Say that again, just so people can wrap their arms around it.
The clients that I'm attracted to now are community owners wanting profit.
Which, by the way, is everyone, including we had a conversation about companies, living companies doing the right thing. That's a community owner.
Yeah. So let me tell you a little bit about what that means. And this is an evolving story, Nikki, but a story that I'm loving the evolution of. In order for a community to be successful, they have to have a purpose. You heard me talk about this, and they need to work towards that purpose. And what you're hearing me describe is a community of people. It could be a community of people who want to give hugs together and walk away feeling great. It could also be a corporation. Those two are both examples of potentially community. Not all corporations are in community, of course, we know this. In order for a community to persist effectively, they need to create value for the people that keep showing up and working towards that purpose and share that value. And sometimes a community has a purpose that's challenging to move forward in the world, and it requires somebody that continues to drive those projects and organize them, and that person may be the community owner, and that's particularly true in the case of a corporation, needs to be able to support themselves showing up for that community over and over again. That person needs profit. So part of the value that the community creates, in order for that person to be able to keep showing up and keep being engaged and keep driving that engagement towards that purpose, is a salary, is profit, is their capacity to live while serving that community. That's what that means, Nikki.
Wow. That is an incredible mission to have.
Yeah, I'd like to
Really
talk about
is.
that.
Just do it.
So I guess I should try mine.
What would you say? You started, like he said, Lucas said he came to you and he's been working with you. So what's your purpose?
You know, my purpose was different prior to July of 2020. So I've done a lot of really cool things and fun things in my life. And I always thought my purpose was to, get married, have a family, create companies. I've been in Silicon Valley for 35 years. And, I've created 20 different professional services firms. I've sat on the board of a NASDAQ company. And For 22 years, we'd rent a house in Europe and for a month during the summer and have friends and family come. And I thought that was living that life, a good life, right? Was my purpose. And between 2019 and 2020, I went on a Napoleon Hill journey and I interviewed 500 thought leaders on credibility. And somewhere in there, typically it was closer to the end, 95% of the way done, I had a huge slap in the face, a huge wake-up call. What happened, Nikki, and those listening, what happened is that 98% of the people I interviewed, now I only interviewed thought leaders. I only interviewed people who already had followed. Some of them were big influencers, some of them were smaller influencers, but they were all thought leaders. 98% could not articulate who they served and how they served them in 10 words or less. 98.
Can I jump in?
Oh, please.
I got to experience this because I was one of those 98%.
I wasn't going to throw you under the bus, buddy.
Oh, no, it's quite all right. I don't mind displaying my credibility. I am coachable, although I'm a little slow. So I got to experience this because you changed, Mitchell, from our first interview into our second interview. You were a different person. And that realization maybe came from that or drove it or both.
Yeah.
Well, Dick, here comes the beautiful thing. Watch these two interact with this. This is a beautiful broship. Right here, this broship right here. This is going to be a beautiful thing that I'm doing.
Okay, thank you. What was fascinating is the realization, and Lucas, we'll talk on you, and then I'll go back to the bigger picture. With Lucas, what happened in the first time I met him, there were all these marketing cookie cutter approaches of how he was living life. And so we worked, I think what happened our first interview, we just couldn't even we couldn't actually get to it. So we spent a half hour and nothing happened. We then put together another, it might've been a half hour or 45 minutes. We're able to get the first one done after spending about an hour and a half together. And then Lucas comes back about 2 or 3 months later and says, Mitchell, I got to do it again. Something doesn't feel right. I'm like, okay. And so he stepped up, and that made me see him, right? When you talk to 500 people, and my goal, when what was interesting is when people would walk into the interview room, 50%, now this is a 500 people, 50% would walk into the room and not show me their heart. Like, how can I see you if you don't at least open up and show me who you are? Right? This is one of the very cool things about Clubhouse, is because you're not seeing somebody, people feel more comfortable coming in transparently. At least this is what I'm seeing. And that's what I want to see in this room. That's who I want to play with. So Lucas came in the second time and we got something better. And then he coached me to do something that I hadn't been doing yet. And that was to create a 5-day challenge. And so we did, I think it was 5 or 6 5-day challenges together. And now we just finished 2-day ultimate credibility boot camps. And that was Lucas pushing me. And so what happens is we push each other in a direction moving forward. It's having a accountability partner. It's having we take different roles, but having mentors. One of my goals at some point in time, we'll talk about the fact that we should be going through life with 6 simultaneous mentors. And so going back to the bigger picture, if 98% of people cannot articulate who they serve and how they serve them, if they can't articulate their purpose in a short enough period of time where you capture somebody's attention, i.e. less than 5 seconds, you can't do that, then how do people see you? How do they know you? Now, people, when you ask somebody, what do? They don't always have 15 minutes for you to explain or an hour for you to explain. And somewhere in there is the stuff you do. You got to do it in seconds. So I'm going to give you something that's really interesting. I have this concept called a CPOP, that customer point of possibilities. Mine is 8 words. You're living right now in a living, breathing organism of one of them. So my CPOP, Lucas mentioned his was 4 words. Mine is leaders living their values and making a difference. That's the playground I play in, and I'm looking for those people who really are leaders. And what's important is to be able to live your values out loud. And if the values you're living out loud are credible, and there are 10 values of credibility, what happens is people actually gravitate to you. People want to follow you. Your stakeholders, whether they're your customers or your investors or your employees or your partners, get excited because they're actually seeing the real you and they want to follow you. So, Nikki, what ended up happening is I have a superpower of helping people articulate their purpose in less than 10 words. And if you do that, it life changes. And what's interesting is I realized I could teach people this too. And if I could teach others on how they can have the people they work come out with their superpowers, that means it's something we weren't taught. And if we weren't taught about that, we weren't taught about other things that are associated with credibility. And so around July-ish of 2020, 90 to 95% through the interviews, I came up with a new life purpose. And the bigger life purpose is to tip the scale between those in the world that are credible and those that are dubious. And I just call the opposite side dubious. And Muhammad, just so you know, I did that for a particular reason, right? I wanted, when I had something which I call Credibility Nation, that's what this room is. And we have a membership community outside called Credibility Nation. If I had something called Credibility Nation, I needed an arch rival. And I wanted the arch rival to be something that was a little bit playful. I couldn't do a real person, place, or thing because then you get other connotations. And I wanted something that was something that because if 98% of people can't articulate their purpose in life, and we haven't been taught that means a large number of people in the world are doing things which are dubious, not credible. That doesn't mean they're bad people. So it wasn't the same. I didn't want black or white. I didn't want heaven or hell. I did not want, if you're in the United States, red or blue. And so that's where I came up with the word dubious. And every day, my excitement level, I think Muhammad, you mentioned this, every day when I get to change somebody's life, where they get to see their purpose and live their values, and that's the counter that I add. That's the counter that I focus on. That's the counter that to me is exciting. And so when Lucas and I had 2 days to play in the Ultimate Credibility Bootcamp, and by the way, for those that are interested, we will do this again. We do this once a quarter. The next time is December 1st and 2nd. I think it's just the URL if you wanted to change that, Adrian, if you're still hanging around, ultimatecredibilitybootcamp.com. And what's interesting is when you get a little bit more time with people, what happens is sometimes the marketing BS comes out and you could feel it. And then it's not even, here's the cool part. Not even Lucas and I, we don't have to be the ones calling people every time. The community. So we built it was a small community, a small tribe of let's say on average 15 who they would hear it and they would help focus. And so I believe, Lucas, the thing I was getting at that was exciting, and Nikki, thanks for giving me the chance to say this. I believe we all have some beautiful, unique talents, and the world and our tribe needs to see us that way. And we just need to pull our Lori Payne, thank you so much for on Facebook putting in all the quotes and re-quoting me, and you're doing fabulous. Thank you so much. It's that opportunity to allow people to really be themselves. It's the coolest thing in the morning when you wake up and you go, wow, this is really cool. What am I going to do today? And then you do what you say you're going to do during the day, and you're impacting lives in a positive way and making money and having fun and getting love. Isn't that what life's about?
Yeah, I think you and Lucas are a perfect example of influence. You provided healthy influence to each other to pull each other out of that horrible influence that most of us were raised with, where we feel like we have to do it a certain way and it's the wrong way. And I think people who are raised, like my friends who are raised in a judge's, their dad was a judge. I mean, they speak a lot more clearly and succinctly, and they every word they say has to be absolute truth. They probably got beat a lot when they were kids for being obtuse or misleading. But, you know, for the rest of us who got away with it, you know, we've been developing that precise language of truth is really important. And I think you two have been influencing each other in the right way, healthily on that. Over.
Thank you. Hey, so Nikki, did you feel like we got your question answered? And thank you for asking.
For sure. Like, well, you come on here and you're asking everybody, you know, what is it they do and stuff like that. And I just thought you two needed to like have the opportunity to do that as well. And here's the thing, the incredible thing about Clubhouse, and I think you hinted at it, people put stuff in their bios and they can make up whatever they like. They can put stuff in there. People can get up and they can talk about the impact they want to be. But here's the thing, you can't see anyone, you can't see that stuff. So all you've got is what you feel when someone speaks. That's it. We've got these little ditty pictures of each other. And it's like, how do you make me feel? What value do you bring to me? And that truly is, it kind of puts us to that real like naked situation almost, where people get to not see who you are but feel who you are. And I think as you two carry on and you speak and you do rooms like this, you're going to find, you talked about it, your tribe of people that will follow you around, and then you'll be able to hold more of those events, influence more people, and it will just duplicate itself. So you guys have really impressed me. You're both incredible.
Thank you. That's lovely. So I want to get to the wrap. It feels comfortable for a wrap up. I love everyone who's speaking to be able to share. And we actually have somebody who's here that hasn't even shared yet. Should we do, before we do the wrap up, do we do one more reset, or did we do enough resets? Once again, I'm still figuring out cadence of that.
Lucas has spoken. His heart. Anarchy.
All right. So Byron said something that the algorithms see when we do a reset. I just don't know what that means.
Okay, I can do that. Unless Byron's going to come to the stage. Unless someone else is Lucas, you want to take that?
Nikki actually.
Let me just translate for you.
Yeah.
Okay. From a really simple point of view. Do it every 20, 30 minutes, reset the room. More people will get to see the room. More people therefore get the opportunity of coming and feeling what you're bringing to the stage.
What does reset really mean, right? Then?
Do people sleeping? Like if you're just like, it's like an idol. Like, oh my gosh, you're awake. Like you get a jolt. Like, okay, everyone's okay, they're moving. And then it's like, because if everyone's moving around, if they're flashing the mics and just like PTRing, like which means post refresh, you keep pushing your finger at the top of the screen and then pulling it down so like the avatars or whatever, their profile pictures move around a little bit. If there's any movement on the stage, because if one person's talking for like 5 minutes and there's nothing else, and then another person is talking, there's nothing else, there's like barely any movement. So to restart that, just like I was like, wake up, people, wake up. And then it's like, oh, everybody do this at once. So it's not just like, hi, we're awake. It's like, hey, we're here. You know, it's like is it
also like Dr. Laura, did you hear what she did? She was very intentional about what she did. She brought the energy, but putting that to one side, she got people to like follow your club. If people don't follow your club, they're not going to be notified. If they follow your club, they'll be notified when you're putting rooms on. Then they've got a chance coming in. Otherwise, they don't know you're there.
Yeah, or someone else runs a room in your club. Like last night, I ran a room in someone else's club that wasn't mine. The same content. I was in that person's club earlier that day under her club, which has a heck of a lot more followers than mine, which is fine. And then I ran a room under her club. So the people who follow me who don't know about her, it gave her, because I respect her, and it gave her club. Even though they follow me, they know about me. But now, because I respect her, now they know about her. So and then so that's it. But then the thing about it is that what happens when the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if we're like, hi, I'm here, squeak, squeak, then people, it'll be, for whatever happens with the algorithm, it places you higher. I don't know math very well. It places you higher in the hallway, meaning that those who do follow you anyway, for however it works out, it just places you higher. Not that it's better. It's just that we're more active. Because I don't want to be like walking by a snake that's like kind of sleeping and then startle them and then bite you. I know you're there. I know you're there.
Now,
the other thing we do is we get people to follow each other. So like you click on someone's profile and you'll follow. If you do that, I can then see when you're on stage and speaking. Now, Mitchell, Lucas, for being new to this, if you guys are speaking and I'm on Clubhouse, I want to come and hear you speak. So therefore, I come onto the rooms you're at. If you see Dr. Laura, if you're following Dr. Laura, she speaks, you go on her room and then you get to speak. Those people that have followed Dr. Laura will hear you speak and think, do you know what? I really like Mitchell. Do you know what? I really like Lucas. They'll follow you and come onto your rooms.
And Adrian's got a huge following. So and not only does she speaks, if I moderate her, I don't know how that works. So it's like if speakers, but then if you moderate someone, like, they're a moderator, for whatever reason, then it's like a bigger alert. Like right now, like if I'm not going to do this because I don't do this like Mitchell. If I were to make someone moderator, who I respect and I trust, whether or not they have a big following, because it's all about the freaking numbers sometimes, but just to get this room, so it's just such a valid, incredible room, and it's such an authenticity and integrity. I want to shout from the rooftops, people, we're here, because all the trolls and the nasty rooms in here, I want this room, this club, to override all that nasty stuff that's going on right now. People don't know about this yet, so I want to flood the hallway. I would love to, and I wouldn't do it without permission, to make Elizabeth, Nikki, Muhammad, Lucas, and Byron all moderators. That's not my job. That's not my place. Because then they'll get more. They'll get bigger alerts. I don't know. Byron, do you have a better explanation than do I?
You're right on there, Dr. Laura. I think the algorithm for Clubhouse is really built on interaction, and where the hallway brings up the things that it suggests based on where the most activity is going on, with all these kind of digital inputs that we do with a refresh or a mic flash. Those are all digital fingerprints, we'll say, of our actions on the app, outside our longevity of our mics being open. But it just brings awareness to the things that are in your circle, the people that you've incorporated in your following, or people that you allow to follow you, or are grateful. But that's kind of it. It just brings into the awareness as a priority because of the engagement factor. And then, like Nikki said, building the community of following amongst the rooms, it creates that overall arching spider web of how that engagement algorithm model works, in general. So it just brings awareness.
I'm notorious for doing the gifts and stuff, and people say it's annoying. I don't care. Why? Because it keeps people awake. Like you'll see, if I'm following with someone, like Mitchell, when you're talking, and if I'm not on live on the computer, I will as you're speaking, I will almost have a picture book while you're telling the story. And my gifts, if anyone's noticed this, my gifts compliment everything that you're saying 5 or 10 seconds later. So it's like a boost. Not only people are like, oh, okay, it's not about me. It's about highlighting and complimenting you and your story or whomever's speaking. I'm flashing my mic, or I'm doing oh my God, whatever gift it is. It's like a picture, a storybook. That's at least my philosophy on it. Is that it highlights whoever's speaking and it honors you by creating. Right there, you go. What am I saying? Can I get a Wonder Woman? Can I get? See,
you are Wonder Woman. That's for sure.
She is Wonder Woman for sure. For sure.
Look in the
mirror. That's awesome. So, hey, listen, feel free to please, this is Credibility Nation. Please invite people to the community, and would love to continue to grow and expand and have you come and join. And I always like to start off with a single word or thought, but ultimately we're focused on 10 pillars of credibility. If you haven't seen the the TEDx. It's worth looking at, and it'll help with a framework. It's just the stuff we already know. I didn't have to make any of this up. It came from interviewing 500 people, and it's I've now been practicing for 20 months, and it's becoming just part of it's really good at me in terms of me opening up and seeing the world, and also being able to support people be their best. And it's good to have somebody feed it back. Like, Mitchell, have you thought about that? Not yet. And I'll look at it. Hey, I would love to go around those that are speakers and be able to, and I think there's something that says content and content anarchy. We have not heard you speak yet. If you want to speak, since somebody promoted you to speaker, I'd love to hear from you.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hey.
I was intrigued by your room, so I thought I'd come in and credibility and values. I just want to say to people in this room, if you go to another room, you won't find people like you have in this room. Trust me. Go all over Clubhouse, you will not find 9 or 12 or 15 people like this in any other room. So
wow,
that's an important starting point, a very important starting point. Because sometimes we leave rooms like this and we go to other ones full of joys and happiness and and they just don't have the same values, the same sense of credibility and belief in their values. So I'm, first of all, taking in time to appreciate the room that I'm in. So thank you.
Oh, by the way, thanks for saying that, because I don't spend enough time on Clubhouse to know. I know a couple of people have said that before, and I really appreciate you. And I know it says content anarchy, but who are you?
So, my name's Mark. Content Anarchy is the podcast we do. It's a podcast and a way of life, and our aim is to level out the playing field for all the people that feel excluded and not part of society. So our aim is to give to those that feel not part of anything. We do it in a podcast, and we're going to do it in a charity as well. So that's the plan.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you. Now,
I wanted to share something with you, Mitchell, if I could, very quickly, because I know you want to close the room, so I'm not going to be long.
Oh, please. We'd love to hear it.
Before I do that, I want to, hail up to all the people in the room that, are just absolutely amazing human beings. Elizabeth, Nikki, Dr. Laura, Byron, Mohammed, definitely, Bella, Stephen. I just want to big up to those people, because amazing people. And obviously yourself and Lucas as well, but I've only just met you today, so that's slightly different for me. I've spent my life working with people who are excluded from schools, homeless people, children in care, and I've tried to encourage them to find the inner truths in themselves so that they don't have to listen to the BS that society kind of puts down onto them a lot of the time, or the narrow things that it tries to fit them through. And one of the hardest things in doing that, if I'm truthful, is the lack of credibility and values in the leaders of our society today. If you look around you, I don't think there's ever been a time in Western society when it's been so blatantly obvious how lacking in anything other than personal greed and personal self-satisfaction in our leaderships. The small values that were around in the past just aren't even there anymore. So it's really difficult to talk to people who are excluded and isolated and say, you know what? You can make a better world for yourself if you stand by the things that are valuable to you and valuable to your community, valuable to your family. And then they look around and they say, but how comes this is happening? And how comes that's happening? And all I can say is, don't judge by other people's mistakes. Judge by your path. And that's what led me from doing all that work on a one-to-one, working with the most vulnerable that I could find to try and help them, to now doing a podcast where we can invite people on. We have people coming on to the podcast who, for example, are trying to stop honor killings, or people who are trying to stop racism or attacks on transgender people, for example. So we have a platform of safety for people to come on and talk. and it's growing really well. And our next aim is to turn it into a charity so that we can actually fund groups and projects that need support so that they can grow. So in a nutshell, that's what it's about. I didn't come here to hog the stage or anything like that. I just wanted to just pass it on. And I will say thank you because, the trees are smiling where I am because there's such lovely people in this room.
Mark, that's really cool of you. Yeah. First of all, thanks for doing what you're doing and for sharing. And that's exactly, I wanted to see you, and you gave us a chance to see you. And you could see from the hearts that came while you were speaking. I wanted people to see you and to love you. And they do. Thanks for doing what you're doing.
We do.
Happy
Those of
trees.
us who know you, we do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Nice.
So what you're saying is so powerful. If an individual joins the mob and tries to give the government responsibility for everything they do, they've lost their power. But if a person takes responsibility for their own actions and says, no, you step aside, I'm going to help you govern this nation and I'm going to help you do it the right way, then we're regaining our power. We actually have an equal amount of power equal to the amount of responsibility we take. That's what I believe. Any objections? Or
No. As a matter of fact, Elizabeth, would you mind? We'll consider Mark's sort of share his wrap up, and I'm the best wrap up ever. Elizabeth, do you want to share just how would you summarize today, and then we'll just go through the room, and then we'll close.
Mitchell, if I could just say one thing very quickly. The other day I met Elizabeth, and I was absolutely knocked out. What an amazing human being. And today she's even grown higher in my aspect. So, I just can't express enough admiration for her.
Cool beans.
thank you. Have we heard from Byron?
No, Elizabeth, why don't you summarize first? Yeah, we did hear from Byron, but I'll also call back on him after he gets to hear a couple other people.
Well, I think that blockchain is really coming of age because it's a group of individual node operators, each working from their own home, only related to each other by one smart contract. And that is, if I see you giving me a job saying that I've got this list of transactions that you need validated, that I will validate them in exchange for some credit on the blockchain, whether that be in Bitcoin or carbon credits or even social credits. And so it's thousands of individuals working together on a system that is just a registry of proof, credentials, credibility. And so it's a system of credibility, of no need to trust, because it's all there in black and white right in front of you. You can prove everything. And it's the chain is immutable. And so I think that this is really a way of saying we want each and every person to be able to validate, verify everything that's coming our way. We want to know the truth. We don't want our politicians lying to us. We want to have influence. We want to have responsibility for putting on the blockchain, validating, verifying everything before we put it there so everybody knows this is the truth. And we can all live without having the mental, what is it? That's probably brain damage. Yep, it's brain damage. When a person is bullied or mobbed, it literally causes physical brain damage. And we're just tired of that. We want everybody to live up to your best, your highest potential, maintain your brain integrity. So I think blockchain is a really great way to show that each of us can be leaders, servants with integrity and the highest credibility. Thank you. Over.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth. Mohammed. Oh, Dr. Laura, I knew you unplugged. I'm gonna do Mohammed, then Nikki. Mohammed, you came in at the last minute last week, and I asked you to come this week. You showed up. Thank you. Can you summarize like how you felt today, or how did today go for you?
Positive attitude is contagious, and the more you are surrounded with positive people and good people, it will have an impact on you. Pass it forward, walks in the world, and I've seen it. I've tried it, and I'm thankful, grateful and I'm a better person just being among you guys. Thank you. So bless you. Love you. Just one word of advice. Suffering and abuse might physically take away something from you neurologically, but it can always, if you look at the tipping point by Martin Gladwell, speaks volume about how the percentage of the people, that successful people or great people, were orphans and had misery in their life, and they were abused. Or it's ironic when people go through suffering. Suffering can also be a chance for people to better themselves, which the statistics prove such theory. So suffering takes away something from you, but then again, if you have a purpose, and this purpose would overcome any suffering, and it will replace whatever has been taken from you to another, and with another cause, with another drive that would make you a better person. I'm not advocating for suffering, but as the Buddhist saying goes, life is difficult, is it? Yeah. So it's not easy, but then again, life is an adventure, and the more you're tested, the more you get stronger and resilient. So don't shy away from adventures and anything that goes by. So credibility shines for a leader when we go through tough times. God bless you all. Love you. Mohammed in the mic.
Thank you, Mohammed. Yes, agreed. And Byron also sent his love, and he's got to head off to work, so he just took himself off stage. But Byron, thanks for your contribution. I was going to go Nikki and then Laura. Nikki, what do you think?
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you hear any noises in the background, I'm just about to feed my goats and my sheep, so that's the noises. I'm not killing anything. So I just want to make a brief comment while Mohammed was speaking. Lucas, you had Wonder Woman up. I mean, are you saying you are Wonder Woman? I mean, I'm just wondering if you were just trying to share something else there that we didn't know about, that maybe that's for another room. I guess when I look at it, I know most of the people in this room. I don't know Adrienne, and I haven't really had to speak too much, but I know Dr. Laura said that you're amazing, so therefore you must be. I guess I'm grateful to have got to know Lucas and Mitchell. And I believe that sometimes you can come across people that really can make a difference. And I think if I was to summarize, I think, Mitchell, that's what you said at the beginning. One of the rules of this room are to be servant leaders. If we can all make a decision and be intentional and go out and be servant leaders and find a way using our unique abilities, our being me, Lucas being Lucas, Marky being Marky, Laura being Laura, all of us being ourselves, and go out and serve others with that, that'll be incredible. So therefore, I yield the mic back to you, Mitchell.
Nikki, thank you. And what an honor and pleasure to get to meet you too. Thank you so much. When Lucas, I'm going to let you go at the end because he is Wonder Woman. Doctor,
I just mentioned the tipping point that the book that I was referring to is Outliers. Sorry about that, guys. Not that good.
I like Outliers as well.
Good book.
Yeah, Dr. Laura. Oh, I know. It was so funny. Nikki was talking to her, the goat. I'm like, oh, so cool.
We love you. The fact that we love you from a farm, that is by itself, it's amazing. We love you, Nikki.
Where's my sheep? Where's my joy? See, this is the thing. I'm a little jealous now because, like, a few months ago, we love Dr. Laura. I don't want Nick in here now because we love Nikki. I knew it. I just knew it. I'm so grateful because I'm like, Nikki, what are you doing tomorrow? You gotta come. Thursday, I'm like, we're doing the summit. You gotta come. Why? You know, I know what I'm doing. Oh, that's last weekend too. I got things to do. Yes, you're busy. I know, but you trust me. You're gonna love it. Like, who are these people? You can just do it. And I'm like, yes. So there's nothing to summarize. I'm so full of this room right now. I just want to, people, get your arse in here because they just don't know what they're missing yet. I'm so full of, you know what? Haters hate, and I'm so grateful because, in the words of a dear friend, some big wig can come to my defense, and it's the smaller wigs right now in terms of numbers where I feel validated and seen because I'm actually listened to and heard, and you allow me to witness you. And showing up, that's the most important thing for me, is that you're there. And you're not sleeping. Like, wake up. No, you're like in it. Not like get off me, you're in it. Just like you save space and you allow me to see you safe space for others. I'm just so in love with this right now. I know, right? I love that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to add something to what Dr. Laura said, because I got a mic and I unmuted myself. But let me share something with you. I came on this room because I am super busy. There is 101 things I should be doing right now because Dr. Laura told me I needed to come because Dr. Laura Mitchell said you were amazing. Understand the credibility there. And Dr. Laura in herself is someone who has such heart. She is what we've been talking about. She shines the light on everyone else but herself. And people love her because we all get to see her heart. I'm speaking for good, for sure.
Yeah, promises. I just like hearing the goats in the background.
I know, right? Yeah, I know. And I'm not at a distance. Well, I'm going to quickly put my mic on a bit later and I'll switch it off and you'll hear how loud they are when they actually see me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. She's so great.
Adrian, I'd love to hear you wrap up, my friend.
Thank you, Mitchell. I appreciate it. Actually, I have a 16-year-old daughter, and I want to say thank you to each of you for not only being in the room, but that you're going to, once you are comfortable and have understood the value of being credible, you will then share it with other people. And by the time my daughter, either as she owns her own business or works for someone else or whatever happens in the next 5 to 10 years, I hope for a world of more credible leaders doing great things, living their values, because you're helping our next generation. Thank you from my granddaughter, Michaela. Thank you for my grandson, Axel, that you are going to be influencing. Because it's not just about you in this room right now. It's about the other people. And I've always had one dream. My one dream is that, boards and that each of us take and we make sure that we bring someone up and we show them what it's like. And that person can be younger. Maybe it's a 20-year-old. Maybe it's an 18-year-old, which is the youngest you could be on the app, right? So to me, it's not just about me. I want to thank you for our future generation and my future grandchildren and the ones I have today, because that's what matters to me. We need a stronger world of credibility, leaders doing good. So thank you, Mitchell. Lovely. Dr. Laura, I need to connect with you. I tried to keep going on Owl to see if I could find you, and my daughter would like to talk with you. Other than that, you've always been lovely. I tried to share clips. I do have some clips. I sent them to my husband's phone. I'll listen to them, and then I have each of your, Mohammed, you had a really great clip. I think Nikki, you had a great clip. Mitchell, Dr. Laura. So call me Clipster. So I think next week I really can practice at really capturing clips for you, Mitchell. Everyone have a great Labor Day weekend, and I will see you on Saturday.
Adrian, you're so cool. Thank you for all your love and support.
No credibility now. I lied. I'm speaking again. Dr. Laura, you're right. Adrian is amazing. Even those short couple seconds, you could see her heart. Adrian, you're fantastic.
Yes.
Yes.
So grateful.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Are you sure? I'm sorry.
And I just say for those who Dr. Laura and Adrian and Lucas who just are here to support me, thank you. I love you all. Lucas, I'd love to hear how you would summarize what you heard and the joy you got today.
This was a lot of fun. I'm glad I was able to join.
Me too.
We had some really cool conversations about giving people positive affirmation for the ways that they've impacted us. And I think, Nikki, in so doing, you actually set the stage for the room, and it continued, and it just continued and continued. It was a snowball rolling downhill with creating positive impact and sharing that over and over. It was wonderful. So I'm going to take your leadership, Nikki, and I'm going to go look for more opportunities to be positively impacted and share that.
Fun. I think that should be a default mode, though. It feels like a good default mode to be in.
What you talking about? Mitchell?
Just being always looking for opportunities where people are impacting you, and opportunities where you can make it with tiny little things make impact on others.
Let me add to that, because I do. What Nikki has called us forward into is that if we take it from default, Mitchell, and turn it into active, we have more opportunity.
I could buy that.
Yeah, and I'm excited.
Mitchell, can I ask something?
Sure, please.
Jordan Peterson speaks volume about this. In order for you to take on new opportunities, you have to be willing to take on more responsibility. And the more responsibility you take on, adventures, opportunities will rise up. So life is adventurous, and if you go on with the attitude, I'm gonna go throw myself at different places so that I can have more opportunities. So the world is your oyster. Then you should try your best to venture out and explore and try to find through it all who you are. So, and how could you serve with that and never degrade or never lessen any act. Every act, even a small, the butterfly effect. Yeah, thanks, guys. This is a great room.
Oh, thank you. All right, so I'll do a final. We have a big task in front of us. Tipping the scale between those in the world that are credible and those that are dubious. And so many people have it's very easy to point out what is dubious. The thing is, don't consider dubious necessarily being bad or evil or malevolent or malicious. Think about it as an opportunity for somebody to maybe be educated in some way or learn a little bit more or experience something that will bring them over to a component where they act more credible, where they act more humane. And this is a great room. I want to continue to be of service, and I'm doing it from a notion of no hate. And those are really two big things I focus on. If you want to learn anything more, let's connect more, let's share more, let's grow this. Let's see if there's something that comes out of this that's greater than what we're doing right now. If there aren't many rooms like this, then there should be a whole lot more people in it. So let's figure out that.
Let's homeschool it.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, first let me shut off. I'm going to shut off the stream to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google Plus. Thank you. Not Google Plus. Where did that come from? YouTube. God,
that's out of the archives.
That is out. There was some cobweb in my brain that said, "Oh my God, Google Plus." So I'm gonna close off. Hey, thanks. I'm waving. Thanks for joining us. You're always welcome for anyone who's here in Clubhouse.